I thought it was the tale of two halves tonight. I thought we demonstrated a lot of toughness and defensive energy in the first half, and I thought Coach Foley made a couple of great adjustments with things going into the second half, and we did not respond. I think we left our toughness in the locker room when we came out at halftime, and that third quarter just opened it up for it. It was just a tale of, you go in with that 8-point lead at halftime, and you end up being, goodness, I don't know what we were down. I think it was an 18-point swing. I think we were 10 down at the end of the third quarter. And we just continued to, we just had a lack of toughness in everything that we did. There was poor execution offensively, and there were poor, we went to man-to-man defense for 2 or 3 possessions just to try to get it out of a rhythm against what we try to do with our zone, and had 2 threes put right in our eye, and that wasn't even happening against the zone. So, I was just real disappointed. I thought I had one team to work with in the first half, and a different team came out of the locker room in the second half, and it was a disappointing loss as a result of it, especially here on our home court. So.
Coach, on offense tonight, it looked like nobody really wanted to be aggressive besides Bria Pitts late in the game. How do you, specifically at the three-point line, when you're getting open shots, a couple games, you had some chances to get good looks, but people, it seems like the girls are breezing up a little bit when they get that open shot. How do you get them to get out of that?
I think a part of it is we're challenging our post players. We have to have more of an offensive presence, specifically with our post players. I think there's got to be, and honestly, we do a lot of stuff that keeps the floor spread because our posts are effective in a lot of the matchups. Arkansas Little Rock was a tough matchup for us tonight. It's always all about a matchup, 3 nights ago when we're at the University of Tulsa, we have a quickness advantage, with their post players. We actually probably were a little bit more of a disadvantage tonight, with their post play. So we've got to put a framework in place that when we're in situations like this with really athletic post play, that we can still deliver it well inside and get more of an inside-outside game. I felt like the whole second half, our girls they quit penetrating, they quit trying to get to the rim, they just kind of made a wall around the three-point line. And then your offensive rebounding is terrible out of that also. So I think there's some adjustments that we can make. We saw a little bit of it there in about the last 4 to 5 minutes that we just started getting some different framework looks with what we're trying to kind of get our guards open. But I think a little bit is our guards aren't pulling the trigger like I'm expecting to. I think I want to see Kaylin Mayberry, and Bria Pitts and Dorka Ballin. Ashley was almost, as a freshman, was almost one of our more aggressive guards tonight, with kind of getting different looks and different dimensions. And I'm expecting those sophomores and junior to do that also. So just a team failure, overall. And so these are the ones that you'd love to have some good video to watch, but it's going to be painful, and it needs to be painful because it was, at both ends. And players at the defensive end who should have been strong suits for us kind of shrank a little bit too. Instead of having steals, we weren't being aggressive down there either. So just an overall lack of toughness in the second half for us as an entire group. And I don't know what we left in the locker room, but we chucked it at the door and we went at halftime. Because I was, and what we were talking about at halftime was, this was going to be a game you just have to grind it out, and we quit grinding, after the first 2 quarters.
Just real quick. 26 turnovers tonight, obviously not what you want.
Right.
Was it more just being careless with the ball or just trying to force the issue?
I think it's a little bit of, and we talked about this, I don't remember when we talked about it, Russell, but we've got to add some layers to what we're doing, and it gets back to post presence also. But we had some good cuts into the post tonight, but every pass was thrown early. They were always thrown one step before the person was established and was given a good target. And that's just something we've been spending a lot of time about the last week working on that, and it's going to have to be a daily thing. But the idea of when they were wanting to deliver it was right, but the delivery and the reception of it was poor on both ends. I remember there was one that Bria stepped in off of a baseline out of bounds play, and it was designed for her to step in and get a good post up. And Arkansas Little Rock, honestly, Bria had 6 or 7 inches over the person who was guarding her, but she just out-toughed her, and so Bria didn't establish her position with her feet. Maria went ahead and threw it. Turnover goes to Maria. But it's kind of a 50-50 situation right there. Bria's got to give her a great target to throw to, and step in aggressively. Nobody's going to just let you step in, and have it. And so it was a twofold problem there.
You have a pretty quick turnaround time because you play Oklahoma State on Friday and then Michigan on Sunday.
And then Eastern Michigan on Tuesday. Yeah, we're about to play 3 in 5 days. So.
Yeah. What specifically are you going to work on?
I think the biggest thing is they lost their energy in the second half. They lost their energy and their toughness. And we are going to make mistakes. We are going to have turnovers. That's a part of being as young as we are right now. But they just lost their fight, I felt like, as we were kind of going into the fourth quarter. And there's nothing worse as a coach than when you feel like you're trying to pull it out of them a little bit. And I think that's probably my best answer I could give you on that, is that they just got to steel themselves a little bit right now. We're a much better ball club than we showed, tonight, these second two quarters. And, we certainly didn't have the fight that we had 3 nights ago, over at the Reynolds Center. And I think UALR is a very good team, and I know that Coach Foley's got a lot of young kids on his team, but he's playing his experience right now. And he's got a senior group that was out there, and those seniors took us to the woodshed, in the second half, and we didn't respond. So I would say the biggest thing is that we've got to give it for 40 minutes. We've got to get that fight and that toughness that we had in the first half, and we've got to do that in the second half.